Well, that was Pam Sheamer there at Steamhouse as part of our two-parter from Birmingham Tech Week, and Pam will be out and about on our next month's show. Don't forget, if you'd like to have a crew from our BBTV team visiting your premises, drop us a line, let us know what you're up to, and we'd love to get you involved in the show. Now then, Henriette from the LEP is still with us. We've been joined now for our panel debate by two other local businesses. We've got Sarah Squires from Everly Studios and Ameesha Smith-Green from the Bookshelf, talking about skills, really, is what we're talking about here. So if I can ask the two of you just to tell me a bit about you and your business. Sarah, tell us a bit about you.
Yeah, thank you, Carl. So I'm Sarah. I've got a business based in Solihull in the West Midlands. We've been going for about 2 years now. My business is in fashion design, so my history is as a fashion designer. Been doing it for about 20 years now, and then I set up a business with my partner Rachel about 2 years ago, and it's really flourishing. And we basically provide design services to retailers in the UK and then also to suppliers and factories overseas. We've got some really great clients that we work with already. So we've got Morrison's, they're one of our clients. We've got Next, New Look, and we literally will go into their offices and design specific categories for them.
So you're seeing what's coming up. How far in advance?
Yes, we're designing autumn/winter 23 at the moment, so we tend to start about a year ahead. So we've just done a big trend forecasting exercise. We're looking at the catwalks. So we've got a team of about 30 freelancers that we work with. So if a menswear project comes in, we'll get a menswear expert to look at it. And then we've got a team of 6 in-house designers that we work with every day, basically, that we employ.
So your skills needs actually then are quite diverse.
They are. We have, yeah, and we find that our clients really like having the breadth of designers that we have on our books, because everybody has their own kind of handwriting in fashion. So, you know, someone's really good at doing pretty girly stuff and somebody else will be good at doing kind of sportswear. So we can play into like the skills and the best talent that we can for each project that we work on.
Hold that thought, I'll come back to you in a minute.
Okay.
Ameesha, tell me a bit about your business.
Yeah, hi Carl. So my business is the Bookshelf, and we help aspiring authors to write and self-publish books on their subject matter expertise. So Sarah, for example, if she wanted to write a book on fashion, she might come to us with an idea and say, look, I want to write this book, and we'd help her get more focused. And we go through the process of coaching, editing, design, so basically turning it from a Microsoft Word document into an actual book, covers, getting it on Amazon or another platform, marketing. So we call it Idea to Bookshelf, and it's basically because a lot of people are subject matter experts, but they might not be natural writers, or they might not know how to actually get a book out there into the world.
So this is good, isn't it? Because they say everybody's got a book in
Yeah.
them. So does that mean everybody is a potential client of yours?
Yeah, basically. Anyone who just wants to share their knowledge. It's really good for entrepreneurs who want to like grow their businesses and increase their credibility in their industry, or just to help more people than they can help through directly working with clients. So we've worked on literally 500 or 600 books with authors everywhere around the world, first timers to New York Times bestsellers. We have a lot of dyslexic authors, so it's a real range of people. It's all non-fiction, and generally it's, as I like to call it, books that make the world better.
Excellent. So where are you based then, and how many people have you got in your team?
So we're based in Birmingham. In my immediate team, I've got a couple of employees, but then like Sarah, we also have a team of freelancers who are based around the world.
Excellent. Now, Henriette's here because, of course, this is an example of 2 businesses that the LEP has helped to support. Would these be typical kinds of case studies that you would work with then?
Yes, well, of course, they're unique. They're both unique in their own way, and particularly creative and fantastically successful. But what we're finding with businesses across the region and across sectors is that the challenge to recruit and retain talent is a real challenge at the moment, particularly so coming out of COVID. So supporting businesses with knowing where to find the talent and how to search for it is really important, because what we're also finding is that there is what we call a labour market disconnect, really high levels of unemployment in the city region, particularly youth unemployment, but also high levels of unfilled vacancies. So there's a bridging role to be done there.
You're both nodding. Sarah, from your point of view, I mean, how easy are you finding it at the moment to find the kind of people that you need?
I think We haven't found it too difficult, but what's great about fashion is that it is quite specialised, so you're either kind of trained in it or not. But what actually we've done is that we, with help from your team, we actually took an apprenticeship on about 9 months ago. And we've gone through a teething process with it. She'd got some experience in fashion design. She didn't have a degree. But actually, with the help of the team, we found someone really great, and we've trained her up, and she's doing really well now. And I'd say for the first 3 months, we were like, oh gosh, this is really hard. Are we going to get her to where she needs to be so she can start generating money for our business? But actually, I'd say after about month 6, we sort of got to the break-even point. And then I'd say since then, between month 6 and 9, she is starting to generate an income into the business. So really, really helpful, I would say, actually. And we're going to do another one because it's worked so well. So we'll be coming back for some more help there. So that's been really good, actually.
This
is good news. It's what you want to hear, isn't it?
That's fantastic. And apprenticeships are such a good route towards gaining both the qualification and skills, but also that really important work experience. And again, of course, during the pandemic, that's been really difficult for young people to get that experience. And there's so much more to work than just skills. There's a lot of getting used to what's needed to go to work, even the turning up on time, the resilience, the dealing with feedback, which isn't always positive feedback, but how do you cope with that in a constructive way? There's a lot of value in work experience that you get through an apprenticeship.
Yeah.
What about your business then, Ameesha? How are you, from a recruitment point of view? Do you find, are all the kind of people, the skilled people you want here in Birmingham?
Yeah, I think I'm really lucky in a sense because there's not much of a creative industry in Birmingham. So every time I advertise a vacancy, there are literally hundreds of applicants. So the first time I advertised just to take on 2 interns through the University of Birmingham, I had 176 applicants for 2 posts.
Wow.
So yeah, in a way, it's a really good thing because it means obviously we have a huge amount of talent to choose from. But then the downside, as you were saying, is then it's really sad because you want to be able to hire everyone and to give people those opportunities, because there are so many young people who want to get into work, especially in the publishing industry, which is really difficult to access, and you can't take on everyone. So I tend to offer a lot of internships. So I took on 7 interns last year. I offer a lot of work experience where I'll basically empower like my junior team members to look after the work experience people. So it gives them a bit of a taste of managing and supervising people. So yeah, it's a kind of, it's a good thing and a bad thing, I guess, because yeah, there is lots of talent, but then I would like to be able to take on.
Well, with that sort of pool of people, you can see why they're trying to build the creative side of Birmingham, because the people are obviously just here waiting for the jobs, aren't they? How have you interacted then with the LEP? How's the LEP helped your business?
Yeah, so very similar. The LEP helped me to take on 2 Kickstarters, which was a government programme basically to help young people get into work. So I took on 2 last year, and they were absolutely incredible. As you said, there's always a little bit of a like teething sort of teething programme. But it was, yeah, they were absolutely brilliant. They were both young people who'd actually moved over from Poland when they were 7. They both spoke English as a second language, so they already had challenges getting into the publishing industry because it's quite closed. And yeah, we were able to train them up, and one went on to do her master's, which was really nice, and then the other got offered a social media manager job in London, which just shows the power of literally having kind of a year's work experience for a company. She's then able to go on to get another role. But yeah, it was all thanks to the LEP really, and taking us through all the process. And as you probably know, there's a lot of paperwork and everything involved in going through these programmes, and the LEP really helped with access to funding and how to fill in the paperwork, and yeah, just supported us through the whole thing.
And I guess much as there's some challenges with taking on apprentices or interns or Kickstarters, the plus side is that you're able to actually mould somebody who's quite raw into the philosophy of your own business, isn't it? You can build them from scratch,
Yeah,
can't you?
definitely, yeah. And sort of the thing is, we've got in our business, we've got a few people that design for us now. We've got and we've had an apprenticeship and apprentice start, and we also had a graduate start last year as well around the same time. They've both got different skill sets, but it's interesting how they've developed, and actually there is still a benefit to having a degree. I am a big advocate for universities and getting your degree, but it's not for everybody, and I think it's good to have other avenues of accessing careers, not just university. So I think anything that helps with that, like you say, with the Kickstarter scheme, apprenticeship scheme, it just gives people that wouldn't necessarily be able to consider university because of the cost, or they just don't want to do it, they can still access those careers in a different way.
Henriette, is the pandemic or the fallout from the pandemic still affecting the skills agenda? Is it causing problems still? Is there a lull?
Whether you can relate it directly back to the pandemic, I couldn't 100% tell you, but what is a fact is that it's very difficult to recruit. Now, you've got small creative businesses that are looking for quite niche skill set, and obviously you're the types of businesses that are really in demand. What we hear a lot from businesses is we've got these vacancies, we just can't find people, and we try and recruit. We either don't get enough applicants, we get applicants but they don't turn up for interview. If they do turn up for interview, they might not turn up after we've offered them the job. So real challenges there when you know there are opportunities out there. And I think part of that is about confidence. There's been quite a bit of research done into young people and how they were affected by the lockdown periods in particular, and that time without a lot of social interaction, and a lot of people in general now suffer from something called a pessimism bias, where they rule themselves out of opportunities and think, I've read that advert, but that's not for someone like me. We've got to break down those barriers, because we absolutely need those people in the labour market, and they've probably got all sorts of talents that they're not aware of themselves. And you two should be applauded as well for saying, yes, it takes an investment into an apprentice or a Kickstarter, but at the end of it you've got really talented and loyal employees, and you've helped local people develop and recognise their own talent, which is obviously what we're doing with anyone who comes through our door or picks up the phone to us.
My impression is that one of the fallouts from the pandemic is that people want more flexible, fluid ways of working, and I guess maybe both of your businesses, you're sort of able to offer that. Are you? Is that one of the things that, you know, when you're talking to candidates, if somebody wants to work from home, or if they want to work weekends or start early or finish early, I guess you're sort of in a position where you're looking if you can sort of do that, can you?
Yeah, even during the interview process, I will ask them, you know, what kind of hours do you prefer working? Do you like working in a team or on your own? Do you prefer to work in the office or at home, or a mixture of both? And it's good to be able to offer that flexibility, especially if it's in non-client facing roles. It doesn't really matter to me if they want to log on at 6:30 in the morning or 11 o'clock at night. So I would much rather people work the hours that suit them in the way that suits them. And yes, some days we'll go into the office, other days we'll work from home, some days we'll be out at events. So it's nice, I think, being able to have that mix. But yeah, as you were saying, I think the skills thing is also plays a big part in it, because a lot of people won't apply if they don't think they have the skills. So we've actually moved away from job adverts that are like, we require this, this, this and this, and to say, actually, we're looking for these kinds of people, because we can teach people the skills as long as they've already got an interest in books. And
it's an attitude, isn't it?
It's much more about an attitude and about sort of communication, and just, you know, do we have that rapport with them? Will they fit in with the team? You know, are they enthusiastic and motivated to learn? Because we can teach them anything. Yeah, so I think that helps young people as well get into work, because then they're not having to, think I need these skills and I don't have them, which is obviously a big barrier for people entering the workplace where they haven't had a job before.
And I know you said you're an advocate for university, but I guess it's much the same from your point of view. There isn't a typical set of qualifications for your industry, is there? There is quite a lot of there are a lot of graduates that come out of university, so there's a lot of specific fashion design courses. We've got a lovely lady with us this week who's here today. She's on work experience. She's just graduated from Birmingham University. She studied fashion design. She's called Garant. She won a massive amount of awards at Graduate Fashion Week, and she's actually already got a job. She's told me this week, but hopefully she'll come back and work for me. One day she's going to go and work for Mothercare as a designer for them. So. She's done really, really well with that. So, but yeah, there are a lot of graduates coming out of universities with degrees specifically in fashion subjects. So I think if you haven't got that, you are up against it a little bit. I don't think as a young person who didn't have any qualifications in fashion, you would really be considered unless you had an apprenticeship or you'd done a Kickstarter and gained some experience in it in some way. Do you feel like there's the right sort of support available in Birmingham at the moment for young people to get what they need to progress and thrive in business? I don't know who wants to answer that one? Who wants the least thinking time?
It's a difficult question, isn't it? I think there are courses and there are things that you can do. So, for instance, just thinking about the world I work in, which is fashion, there are lots of fashion courses and things that you can do, and particularly degrees that are specifically focused and very vocational, actually, that will help you get into a job. But then there probably are a lot of people who could do it, but just wouldn't know where to go or how to start. So I think it's, in my world, it's, I don't know, unless you've got that degree, I think it's quite difficult. Can be quite difficult.
What are the sort of typical skill sets in your sector then that you're looking for? How do you know when you've got the right person?
There are some skills. I think, as you said, there are lots of people who apply who have got a degree in English, and a lot of traditional publishers won't consider people unless they have a degree in English. But yeah, for me, I think it's less about the specific skill, like the hard skills, as they say. So it's less about, you know, are they amazing on social media, and it's more about, yeah, what kind of personality are they? So I always ask people at interview, like, what are your top 3 values? And they always go, because they've not been asked it. But yeah, I would much rather take on people who have the same kind of values and they buy into our mission as a company. And I think that also makes it easier to retain them, because they actually buy into the vision and they can see how they're having an impact on the company. So yeah, I focus far less on hard skills, as long as they can communicate clearly. That's obviously the biggest thing in the book industry. But yeah, we can pretty much teach them everything else.
Excellent. What sort of practical advice would you give then, Henriette, to young people that are maybe looking at some ideas about how they can gain the skills that they need to get the jobs they want?
So I would say, obviously, talk to the careers advice in your own college or schools, but also there is something called the Youth Hub in the Central Library in Birmingham. I know there are youth hubs in other places, but certainly one in the Central Library on Centenary Square, where you could go to find out a bit more about what your routes might be. Because for some people it's very straightforward. I do my A-levels, go into university. That's not for everyone, for a variety of reasons, as we already touched upon. Today we've got the apprenticeship fair in Millennium Point. These are recurring events, so if you think I'd quite like to dip my toe into finding out a bit more about an apprenticeship, because maybe going into university isn't for me, then I'd go to events like that. I do agree it's not always straightforward, so try and find an organisation, and there's plenty of them around that can help you guide you through that journey, really. And there's so much opportunity there.
Ameesha and Sarah, I'll let you have the last word. You know, we talked at the very start of the show here about how it's important not to talk the economy down. There's lots of bad news out there at the moment. I'm sensing that both of you are feeling fairly optimistic about your businesses at the moment then.
Yeah, I'm feeling really optimistic, actually. So I started my business in 2018, and I was just a freelancer on my own trying to figure it out. And then in around 2020, I joined the NatWest Accelerator programme, and they introduced me to the Growth Hub. And I think I've actually discovered this amazing network of other entrepreneurs and business owners. And through working with NatWest and with the Growth Hub and those kinds of organisations, I've realised there's just so much information that you can tap into, and there's such an amazing network of people out there. It's just, as you said, it's about finding them. And I've had access to things like mentoring, and I mentor students as well to try and help them on their career journey. So I think it can be much more positive, and you can have a much better experience when you actually find those networks and realise you're not on your own, and other people are facing these same problems, and everyone's really happy to help you. And a lot of the time, you know, if I'm in the office in the NatWest building, I'll just say, oh, does anyone know about this? And someone will pop up and be like, oh yeah, my business does that, or I know someone who does that. So I think just finding a supportive network really, yeah, can really improve your business journey or the journey of finding a career. So yeah, reaching out to mentors and just trying to get support from other business owners, and realising you're not on your own, it can make you much more positive about the future of your business.
And Sarah, where are you on the optimism scale at the moment then?
We're in a good place, actually. So our business has done well the last couple of years. Like, despite COVID, we've had quite a good time. So the business has grown really quickly over the last 2 years, and we're in a position now where we've got a really good hub in Birmingham and sort of the Midlands area of businesses we work with, fashion businesses. But there's loads of opportunity for us in Manchester and London. So we're looking to expand our business and actually work more with fashion businesses in Manchester and London, and kind of and basically emulate what we've done here in Birmingham there. And then also internationally, we're working with new clients internationally every week. So there's a big opportunity for us to expand our international business. It's about 50-50 at the moment, UK international, but they're both flourishing and doing well. So there's loads of opportunity. We're at a point with our business where we don't know whether to take investment or not. We've had some interest from investors, but we don't know whether to kind of do it ourselves and just organically grow or to take the plunge. So we're at that point with our business, so we'll see what happens.
And the uncertainty of everything going on at the moment doesn't help
Yeah,
you make
exactly.
that decision, does it? Really?
Yeah,
So.
but feeling optimistic, definitely.
Excellent. I like an interview that ends on an optimistic note. Sarah, Ameesha and Henriette, thank you very much for your time. Great to see you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.